What's up? What's going on? This is Introvert Boricua with an impromptu live stream. I'm sending out the the link out to have people join. This is all impromptu. I'm still I'm still setting up. Trying to make sure that everything's coming along okay. Let's see. What's going on, Jose? I see you. I'm just gonna be pinning the link. Trying to make sure that at this time I can get it done right. Oh. I know. I'm taking too long with this. So that I'm trying to pin like you told me the last time. But I'm having a little bit of an issue with that. Yeah. Let me see if I can get it right. All right. I got it to work this time. I'll be right with you. I'll be right with you, Jose. Trying to make sure that the link went out. Okay. All right. What's happening, Jose?
Good evening, Ramon. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. And it's now 83 days until the first day of winter.
Jose, that's not what I will be worrying about right now. For real, that's not what I will be worrying right now because I'm hearing that there were these floodings up in New York City.
Yeah,
I mean,
the subway, some portion of the subways was suspended, the airlines was shut down. It was a real mess.
mm, mm, okay. But the thing is that that whole thing it's like very unusual. It was like raining for how long? Like continuing rainfall.
Well, I mean, we got like about like a good 5 or 6 inches of rain.
Right.
So I mean, I mean, we get rain, but we normally don't get that much rain. But today it's like basically the skies were open and buckets and buckets of rain came down, and and people couldn't fly, people couldn't get to work and whatever. We were told if we didn't have to go anywhere to travel to stay home.
Okay. Okay. No, because it was crazy because the last video that I saw about that was at the zoo. at the New York Zoo that there were some seals that were escaping because because the water levels went up so much. It's like hot damn, the animals are escaping the zoo.
Yeah.
Let me bring up a guest. What's going on, Joaquin?
My boy Ramon, what's going on, man? How you doing? Shout out to my YouTube dad, Jose Negron. How you fellas doing tonight?
Ah,
Um.
doing okay, okay,
Yeah.
considering. I mean, doing a little impromptu thing. I mean, I was kind of like thinking about leaving this for tomorrow, but I said, like, what the hell? I might as well because I had already told you something about that. So I figured, let me be up here for a few. So what's going on? What's new?
Well, nothing much. I had to earlier today. I called myself doing this little side job, this little side gig for one of these little independent contractors around here, and that was the worst decision
Oh,
I could have made. I went there. He asked me to help hook up a tractor. I hooked up this tractor. I wasn't dressed for it because he called me early in the morning and asked me if I can do this job for him, and I was going to get paid, something on the side. I went there. I was dealing with rusty chains, tying the chains to the axles of a tractor,
mm-hmm.
connected to another tractor. Um, Oh man, had to take that tractor. It was a lot of work. I was sweating and everything, man. It was a
Mm,
lot of work. And then I turned around and had to drive that tractor from 119th Street in South Chicago. Um, First and foremost, I had to drive the truck there. I had to drive the truck there, then connect to this tractor in the junkyard, and it was a lot of rusty, heavy chains that you had to connect to. And then after then I took that tractor all the way to, I don't know, man, whatever the hell the name of the town is, Indiana. Drove all the way to Indiana. Met somebody else that I had disconnected and hooked up to another tractor. And and then on top of it, I had to go through tolls. I was like, nah, man, you're gonna pay me for these tolls, man, because he didn't
mm-hmm.
have like easy
There
pass.
should have been kind of like plus expenses type of
Yeah,
thing. Should
yeah,
have
and
compensated for you, but is that gonna have to come out of your pocket? That's a problem.
absolutely. And then also I got stuck at the tolls because the damn door wouldn't open. It was a raggedy tractor he had me driving. I couldn't open the driver's door. I had to crawl into the passenger seat and get out through
Oh,
that way and walk around the car to pay for the tolls. And then once I
oh
went to
no.
go get that other tractor, it was a lot of work, man. Once I went to go get that other tractor, and I'm driving down US 30 into Indiana, the Northwest Indiana area, I see something dragging in the background, and one of the um, part of the bumper and the lights fell off, and I can't pull the wires out because it's connected deep into the vehicle. So I got to wrap that wire with the hanging headlight over another piece of rubber strap to keep it from dragging off the ground. So after that, and then I get there and I'm parking on the side of the street, and then he tells me, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna need you to move it into the yard because we can get them towed. They've been complaining about me parking on the side of the street." I said, "Look here, man, you don't even have anybody here to unblock the yard. You got two cars that's blocking the entrance of the yard." Then he called somebody to get them over there. I pulled it in, and then I was like, all right, that's it. I'm never doing this again. Tried to be cool, tried to, I'm like, nah, it's too inconsistent. And then on top of that, I
Mhm.
got the wrong address when I went there. So
Mm. Oh
Boy.
man.
yeah,
Uh.
it was rough.
Rahim. It sounds like you had a day. If everything can go wrong, it went wrong.
Yeah.
I feel for you. Today was real, flooded over here in New York.
I
Um,
saw, I saw people. I saw a bunch of Timberland boots in the air because it was a lot of water that got on even onto the buses and everything. So yeah,
yeah,
I've been watching.
yeah. And it took me about an hour and a half to get home for like a 45-minute ride on on access ride because the traffic, particularly going up, going up, it was crazy, bumper to bumper, and it's like it's when you have trains that are not running properly, okay, so what's going to happen? People are going to get on their cars and they're going to drive home or drive to whatever they need to get to.
Absolutely.
Man, but it's just that I was telling you, I was telling Jose a couple of minutes back that the last video that I
Shout
came
out,
across.
shout out to Blood Moon. We see Blood Moon in the building. Shout
Yeah,
out to
yeah.
you,
What's
Blood
going on,
Moon. Where you been
chica?
at?
And and Irby's in the building as well. Good evening, Irby.
Shout out to Irby. Shout out to
Yeah,
you, brother. What's going on?
yeah, what's going on, guy? And Gyal blood. So I was wondering, yeah, yeah. I was telling Jose that the last video that I came across was about the New York Zoo that the animals were escaping. There were these seals that were finding their way out because of the water levels. Of course, the seals being amphibious animals, they can they can work their way out with higher levels of water. They can use that to escape something, some higher structure, climb back out, and something like that. That's what it looked like on the video. And it's like, man, I was wondering, and Jose was getting affected by it, and Blood Moon. If you can, if it affected you, if you can share with us how, because I understand that you're also in New York, and I don't know if the floodings affected you somehow. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll send the link to Kishelle. I don't know if she was affected by it too. She was having difficulty moving around.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
oh,
think
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I think she can walk to her cousin child. So it
Mhm.
meant, I mean, even still, the fact of the matter is when you're going through streets when it's like huge puddles of water, that can be a messy walk.
Okay, okay.
I remember when my basement got flooded, man. My septic pump went out,
Hmm.
and man, I went down there. I just saw furniture floating.
Oh,
Not
oh,
necessarily floating, but I was so mad. I was like, God damn it, no, no. I think I must have ran to the to see if I can fix the septic pump. I don't know where. I mean, I had lizards, and I'm like, where the hell did they come from?
oh man.
I had some look like a damn iguana or something. I'm like, man, we all the way in the Northeast. We ain't in Florida. I mean, we in the Midwest. We ain't in Florida. Where the hell this damn iguana thing come from? I
Uh,
scooped him up with the dustpan. I was like, I just let him out in the grass on my front lawn. I was like, all right, go be free. Go find some flies or
okay.
something to munch on. But I was meaning to ask you as well, Ramon. Of course, I was a kid at the time, but this was
Hmm.
around your era as a teenager, and I know you grew up on the Death Row Records era and different things like that. So,
Yeah.
Keefe D being arrested for the deletion of Tupac
I
Shakur. What's your thoughts on that?
heard. I heard, and that name has been floating around for some time. As somebody who knows info, some insider info, but the thing is, like so many people, he was talking to Black TV, so maybe that has something to do with it because we know that there are certain people that after talking to Black, they get arrested because they get exposed. Like they're not they're not learning. There are some of these guys that may have had a case and may have had something resolved and they were able to get away with, but then they start yapping about it publicly, and then that's used against them. My understanding is that there have been instances in which somebody has been arrested, somebody has been put on trial, and then they use those interviews against them because Blood is always asking all of these cop ass questions. I mean, like these interrogations. Like, that's why they call him Officer Blood. I mean, and like people keep going up there, keep going up to his shit to talk about whatever it is that they shouldn't be talking about. That they should be keeping to themselves.
Hmm. And
And
I think,
yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely correct. And well, based off of, as it's been almost 30 years. It's crazy because that was a
Mhm.
completely different era when you look at it. It wasn't any cameras. It wasn't it was cell phones, but it wasn't cell phones like today.
No,
And
no, the cell phones were for calls, and that
right,
was it. None of that, none of that smartphone shit. That,
right,
that only became a thing in the late 2000s.
right. Irby said he thought he had immunity. Not so fast. Yes, they actually had a deal with him called for Queen for a Day, where he was able to confess to his involvement in the deletion of Tupac Shakur, which is one of my favorite rappers. He influenced me a lot as a child. Um, and well, if he confessed to his involvement in that case in the state of California, then he would skate by off he was dealing with a drug charge of PCP and possession of PCP, which
Mhm.
is embalming fluid. People used to dip their cigarettes or their marijuana back in the day into PCP, and it was called wet. That was the nickname on the street. It was wet,
Mm.
and um, he was able to make a deal where he confessed to his involvement with of course he's a member of a street gang in Compton called the Southside Crips, which his nephew, who was the person that was actually the trigger man, the tr- the trigger man on the case of Tupac and Suge, who is deceased now himself, and the other two people that was also in the car with Keefe D is also deceased. Of course, his nephew and one other gentleman lost their lives to a deletion in the streets of Compton, and I believe the other person that was in the car with him had health issues that passed away like about 5 or 6 years ago. So he's the last remaining person that was in that vehicle that was involved in the deletion of Tupac and the attempted deletion of Suge Knight. And like so when he made that deal only saved him from you know, allowing him to get by that case. If he was to bring that up again in other scenarios, which he did, he wasn't. He can still be charged for that. Which he went on Vlad. He went on a lot of other uh, streaming platforms on YouTube and did a lot of other interviews with other content creators and spoke about his involvement. And also, one thing he did not pay any attention to is that only gave him immunity in California. That did not give him immunity in the state of Nevada, which was Las Vegas, where the incident transpired. And apparently, his nephew, who was the trigger man of of that situation involving Tupac and Suge Knight, was being investigated for two murders from rival gang members in Compton prior to that incident taking place. So he was a serious person. Blood Moon said, was it P. Diddy? Uh, you know what? I think Keefe D, to be honest, Blood Moon, I think Keefe D was lying on that. I don't think Diddy paid any money to have them taken out. They was from New York. They wasn't familiar with LA like that. They would, of course, they would come out and visit, but I don't believe Diddy had paid any money to have him taken out. And I get into an argument about that with my friends because they believe, what Blood Moon said, they believe Diddy had something to do with it. But if he had paid them to do something to Tupac, then they would have been looking for Tupac before that incident if they was all in Vegas. They knew he was going to be there. He was at the Orlando was at the Mike Tyson fight by itself when he was jumped. And of course he was jumped because of a prior incident that involving him and some blood members from Death Row getting into an altercation at a Foot Locker in Fox Hills Mall in Los Angeles. Apparently, Trey I think it was in the Trayvon Lane, which was a close associate of Suge and a member of the same street gang that Suge Knight was from in Compton, spotted Orlando Anderson at the event, and he whispered over to Tupac's ear, "That's the dude that tried to take my chain," or "That's the crab," which is a derogatory term for what they call Crip gang members in Los Angeles that tried to take my chain. And at that particular point, Tupac took it upon himself to shoot over there, and him and Orlando Anderson had words, and he, swung on them, and they began to go back and forth until he was knocked down when all of the death row entourage came over and stumped him and jumped him, which was seen on video, on footage. And Suge Knight actually
Yeah,
went to
I
jail.
remember seeing that. I remember
Yeah,
seeing that video. What happened of that hotel lobby when they were kicking the guy. Yeah, I remember seeing that years ago. So that was kind of like the surveillance that that they had back then. It's not as thorough as it is now because now all of those places they gotta have cameras everywhere. But on that instance, there were cameras that did take video on that beating, when that guy got jumped. Uh,
mhm.
but when it comes to the involvement, the alleged involvement of Diddy, that had been speculated for a long time, and that had directly to do, from what I understand, it was because at that time, Tupac and Biggie were beefing, and Biggie being a Diddy artist, then that kind of like implicates him. I mean, Biggie and Tupac are beefing, and then Tupac gets killed, and there is that implication that the Diddy camp may have had something to do with it. But I don't know if there has ever been a link, if that has ever
Well,
been proven.
no, no, it has never been proven, and I'm not the type of person to, put false accusations on people. Like you said, I've heard the speculation as well. Do I think Diddy is a bad businessman? Absolutely. Would I trust him in doing business? No. Do I think he has something to do with the involvement of Pac? Nah, I don't think so at all.
Yeah, that's the
Um,
thing, because we don't know anything. We don't have any kind of clue. We don't have any shred of proof.
right.
I mean, he was able to cover his tracks really well. If he had done anything, if he
And
had anything to do with it, he was able to cover it up really good.
and if he did, I don't think he would have been brave enough to go out there in Los Angeles 6 months after doing that.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
think he would have. I don't think he would have. Did that. They shouldn't have been out in Los Angeles at that time during the height of the East Coast West Coast war because Biggie even said himself he was getting death threats. It was random people from Los Angeles calling his phone and telling him he wasn't going to leave LA alive, and how dare he come out here after what happened to Pac, and they're going to do something to you, and like different things like that. He said even in the malls people was cursing at him and screaming at him, telling him to get out of LA and leave. He's not welcome
Mhm.
here. So it was a real situation. Prior, apart from Pox and Big's situation, Puff and Suge, they situation started a little bit earlier because of the fact that, of course, when Suge in the 1995 Source Awards, when he got on stage and say it's anybody that want to be an artist and don't have to want to worry about the producer being all in the videos, all on the
Yeah, I've seen it.
records,
I remember.
dancing, come to death row. And then after that incident happened, him and him and him and P Diddy crossed paths again in Atlanta at Jermaine Dupri's birthday party, which Jermaine Dupri explained when they asked him about them, interacting with each other. He said, was it a friendly conversation or a hostile conversation? He was like, no, it was definitely hostile. It was extremely hostile. And apparently Diddy had his his boys with him. Suge had one of his friends, and after they had words back and forth, I'm not sure if somebody made a threat or anything like that. But one of Puffy's friends, known as Wolf, who was from originally from the Bronx, New York, pulled out a gun and deleted um Suge Knight's friend, Big Jake, which that's where the beef started from right there. And it had gotten serious after that. And of course, with Tupac joining Death Row down the line with his beef already with Biggie, it was incidents that led up to that. And what's crazy, because I never thought about it until I got older myself. Because me and my boy, we had to think. He like, man, just think when we was 11 and 12 watching these documentaries. He like, dude, they was young, man, 24, 25 years old. You like, I didn't even realize how young that was as a kid because they seemed so grown to us, with us being kids at the time.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, you didn't realize how young they actually were at that time. And had Suge ran Death Row a little bit better than what he did, it could have possibly been even one of the top labels today.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Death Row, I mean, whatever happened to what Snoop Dogg was doing? Because I understand that he was able to secure the ownership of the catalog. I mean, any word of what happened about that? I mean, because my understanding is that Snoop Dogg was able to get control of it, get control of the catalog. But I don't know what ended up happening with that. I mean, was there anything finalized about it? I haven't heard him saying anything.
Well, from what I know from watching those documentaries is that it was a guy by the name of Harry O, who was one of the original founders of Death Row. He put forth the money to help found Death Row. He was in prison for like 25 years on drug conspiracy charges.
Mhm.
He was released, and I think Snoop might have gave him part ownership of Death Row, and they was trying to get everything situated so all of the original Death Row artists can get their money from the streams. Because I still listen to a lot of that catalog on a regular basis, and at one point it was on iTunes, and then I looked up and it was gone, and they took it
Mhm.
off of iTunes because they wanted to make sure that the artists actually, you know, um, everything was situated where the artists can get paid for their streams for the streams of all of the old Death Row catalog. So shout out to Snoop for that. But as far as him doing anything with the label, I mean, it's too much. It's too much bad history behind the label name now, and at the
Mhm.
same time, hip hop is not what it used to be.
No.
So, like, who you gonna get that's really gonna, you know, who you gonna attach to Death Row because that era, that gangster era is over and gone. So it's not really a lot of people that you can get that can really bring Death Row back to the forefront on a musical level. Now you may have certain people that may want to, join a label. I know he had certain street artists out there, and he had certain LA Hispanic artists is on the label. But
Mhm.
outside of that, it's nobody that you can really bring forth that's going to be new blood to help resurrect the label to what it was because the whole era has completely changed versus what it used to be back then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, at least making sure that the catalog is available to the public, at least for streaming. I mean, so that people can revisit that and reminisce. I mean, because I still remember I was in high school when the Chronic came out. That was an event. That was an event. I mean, everybody was listening to that back home. Uh, we knew about it. Uh, yeah, because it was a big deal. It was a big deal, a classic. I mean, maybe you don't hear so much about it, but later it was later on in the 2001, the second Chronic. That's the one that you still kind of hear beats
Yeah,
from
here
an
and
album.
there.
Hey,
Hmm.
yeah,
Especially that Steel Dre beat. You'll never forget that piano.
Yeah.
That you'll never forget that piano. So yeah, you still hear that. And I even remember, of course, back in the day, this had to be like '04, '05 when Snoop Dogg did a song over on the island with Daddy Yankee. And the Daddy Yankee was telling him how much of a fan he was, how he grew up on his
Yeah.
music.
Yeah,
Coming
because
up.
it was a remix. One of the Daddy Yankee songs, a gangster song, I think it's
Yep.
called. But
Yep.
he did a remix of it with Snoop Dogg, and he yeah, yeah. That was an event. That was a big deal. Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah. Daddy Yankee had Snoop in the trenches over there on the island, man.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
like,
He
we
was he was
projects. He
uh,
like,
yeah, he was in the project. He had him
mhm.
in one of the projects. So yeah, and then but everybody knew who Snoop that was. No, nobody was gonna do anything to him.
Yeah,
No, he's
yeah,
too
definitely.
big. He's too big. He was too much of a superstar. So no, nobody was gonna mess with him.
But also in other news, Ebony K. Williams recanting on her original, statement, speaking with
Did she
women.
really? Did she meant it? Did she meant
You know
it?
what? I'll
That's the
think. Oh,
thing.
you know what? I might do a stream on that again.
Yeah, I know because you like her. You like her, Jose. I know that you might because you did a few streams on her and yeah, there is a lot to like except the attitude because
Well,
she does have a la she does have kind of like a big of a masculine energy to her. She looks great.
well,
Yes, but she does have
well.
a
The
bit of a
We
problem.
masculine
we all
energy.
like it. We all like it till she opens her mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
she. I mean,
she looks great. She looks great until she talks.
yeah, she looks great, but when she stopped opening her mouth, and next thing you know, the delusion is obvious, and it's
Yeah.
like it's like some people just don't get it, and for her
The
not to
thing,
talk
the thing
about,
is that
well,
she's
now
already.
you need to marry young.
Yeah. But the thing is that she's already getting attacked for what she said, and but does she really mean it? Did she really mean it? What she was saying? That's
Um,
the part that I'm not sure.
I think she's just doing it just to get clout.
Yeah, so it's like okay, she's getting attacked, but she's still getting traction out of it. So we'll see how that ends up working out for her.
Hmm.
As much as people hated him, especially Blood Moon, Kevin Samuels, what he said is coming to pass. You know, what he said is coming to pass. A lot of the things
Mhm.
that he said. So, rest in peace to Kevin Samuels, man. But yeah, I wasn't surprised at all. I wasn't surprised. Um, Sometimes reality hit people in certain time frames, but
Yeah.
as much stuff as she talked and doubling and tripling down, I thought she would have quadrupled down by now. But hey,
Well, what
Let me
about
see.
the
Let me
time?
see if I can bring up a video of her. Hopefully the video runs okay. What were you saying, Jose? While I set up.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I completely forgot what I was about to say. It
Oh,
happens
my bad.
sometimes.
I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just that I'm kind of like queuing up the video in which she makes comments. So maybe me running the video might jog your memory, and you can bring it up. So let me see if I can share it real quick because I'm always so good at queuing up
I
the
see
video.
Blood Moon is has a couple of issues with the late greats. Um,
man, we all know Blood Moon like Cynthia G, so of course you don't like She don't like Kevin
Oh,
Samuels.
Bloodline is one of her fans, so of course, she's gonna deny everything.
And also, with what Irby was saying, Ramon, if you if you don't want to take the risk, you can also just play the video, the audio from the video, and put our avatars, play it in the background for the audio, and keep the avatars up. That's
Oh,
another thing too.
okay, hang on.
I'll be right back, fellas. Let me go get my green tea. I hear my water boiling.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. In fact, I think I'll probably do it Wednesday night. My critique of her latest pronouncements, so to speak, the pronouncing hypocrisy.
Okay, let me see if I can do what Rakim mentioned. No. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can do what Rakim was suggesting. Yeah. Having it set up. Bear with me. All right. Let me see if I can get it to.
And just remember, people, it's fair use, fair use, fair use.
Yeah, fair use. I'm just trying to to share this for the purposes of commentary. So let me. Okay. All right.
So I've been here for a little bit. I've been here for a minute. Move out the way.
This is the rumor report.
Can you
So
hear
Ebony
okay?
K. Williams has the
Yeah.
people going again. She posted a video where she talked about women in the pursuit of degrees, and she says that the women that are in the pursuit of degrees should also be in pursuit of wedding rings if that is what they choose. Let's take a listen to the audio.
The reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year. No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. So here's my advice. If you are a young Black woman in college and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD. Because the handful of Black college-age men that actually do desire to get married soon, and they do share that value system, and family is a priority for them too, y'all, that is an incredibly small pool, and it's shrinking as you get older. And by the time you reach my age, 40, you will be faced with different choices relating to life partnership and motherhood.
Dropping the clues bombs for the good sister Ebony K. Williams. Not because of what she said, because that's not my business. But she got y'all going again. Stir that pot, Ebony, stir that pot. Ain't too many content creators like Ebony K. Williams out here. You hear me? And I don't have an opinion about this. My brothers, I think this is a conversation for the women. I think we should stand down and watch this one.
I think that you guys could be helpful in this conversation. So when I first heard this, when I first heard this or saw a bit of it, I was like, oh Lord, here she goes again, telling us women what we should do. And if we don't, our lives are over and blah, 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 blah. And then I re-listened and I don't fully disagree with her.
What do you agree with?
So
and what do you disagree with?
So what I disagree with is when she says, as we age, and this is, I mean, certain things are science, but I just think that the way that it's talked about, it puts a bad like cloud over women of a certain age, right? So she talks about our partner and our marriage market value depreciating. I don't feel that in my life. Like as I get older, I feel like I am getting to like I have money to do things now. The people I'm meeting are different now. Like
What about them eggs though? Let me know what.
But when okay, so then she goes
Mind
into
your business.
Then she goes into fertility,
Right.
and she talks about that. And yes, there are certain things that scientifically you cannot get around, but there's options now. And if you are one of the women that she's talking about that is pursuing a degree and you're doing pretty well for yourself, you have the option to do things to preserve and do whatever you want when you want to do it.
But you have to do it early.
You do. And it's not the common thing to do, but women have options now. So those are the only things I don't agree with. And I hate when people use that to like start this conversation because I think it takes away from everything else. And that's what happened with me. And then when I went back and re-listened to it, at the end of the video, she talks about, number one, she says, if that's what they choose, I think people are looking over that. She's giving us the choice. And then she says,
she always is.
And I see, but I get blindsided by all the other stuff.
Because you watch clips. You got to watch things in their full context.
So, and then she talks about targeting women, starting to target the same pool of men. I agree with this. And we were just talking about this in a room. We had a great conversation before y'all came in here. She says that the pool of men who are basically really focused on building a family, really committed to that, are going to be educated and just, a certain level of like just life experience and companionship. She doesn't say anything about money, but she just says that partner that you're looking for, that real partner.
And you like hood niggas, so your pool is broad, is what.
First of all, I like a balance. I
okay.
I could take you around and you're not scared, but you're legally doing well for yourself. And
She said you're legally doing well. Okay.
I had to make that clear because I changed my life.
See,
but I've changed. I'm grown now. Don't nobody want to be worried about where you at. Do I got to check the Vine link online or you booked? Like anybody trying to worry about that.
You got to get bail and all that.
But I do think that when she talks about the targeting the pool of men, I'm recently out of a relationship of over 10 years. We've talked about this. And I had...
Why you laugh, yo?
Charlamagne, I'm being serious over here and spilling out.
A team went down wrong.
I'm with you, sis.
You literally just almost choked.
He laughed. He's still laughing. You're insensitive. Guys, sis. Keep going.
Basically, I feel like it is a smaller pool of men who are actually attractive. They dress well. They want to do things and experience new things in life. They can teach you a little something. You could take them places. They're educated. They don't have a lot of the baby mama drama. It gets smaller. Like they're focused on having.
Do you agree with Ebony or not?
I agree with that part. That's what I'm saying.
She agrees with parts of what Ebony says.
I don't agree with her beginning the conversation talking about our market value is decreasing. I feel like my stock has been rising.
I Ebony probably.
Oh my goodness!
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Or she probably already did, and we only heard.
I went to the clip that was on her page because I thought, but that's all that there was.
But I think with Ebony, isn't it that she's living her truth?
Ebony don't want you to give.
I'm just asking. I'm asking.
I know for a fact Ebony does not want to hear DJ Envy's opinion. I know that.
Well,
I'm Team Ebony.
Well,
I know she don't want to hear your opinion.
But in Ebony's defense, isn't that Ebony's truth? Isn't that how she lives, what she thinks about herself and how she wants to go about her life?
She doesn't preface it that way though. She speaks as if she's trying to pull us up on game. So when you do that may be your truth, but now you're imposing that on other people. But she did say you have a choice.
Now let the record show Judge Ebony K. Williams is a friend to the show. She's a friend to this room. So Lauren, you might have to have that conveation with her one day.
I would
so you
love
better
to.
Keep that same energy.
I would love to. I remember y'all brought her up here before, and I was like, "Dang, I wish I was in that room."
No,
like I would love to have the conversation with her because I don't fully disagree.
You say that until you face to face.
I would love to do it, and I would love
intellect.
I would love to do it as a newly single woman who I feel like my prime is here.
Stop it, yo. Beat his ass.
Yo, hold on.
That's the second time you disrespect. That's the second time you disrespect. Yo, he playing Delaware. He playing Delaware. Yo, he playing you, yo. I don't like that. I don't like that.
You need to come to the town because I think we need to. Yeah, we need to.
He playing you. I don't like that.
All I know is
I
love Ebony K's ability to stir the pot.
She's great at what she does.
She's amazing at what she does.
Ebony, she tapes in town, right?
Yes.
She should come up here. We should do it. I think that there's value to what she's saying about finding those men, getting in early. And we also talk about potential and people not wanting to bet on potential. I think that there's a way that you can do it where it could work out for you. And I think that's kind of what she's going into as well. get in early.
But if Ebony comes up here, I think we should do it where people can actually call and ask her questions, because a lot of times people have questions and there's things that I can't ask or you can't ask or you might not be thinking to ask. And I think a lot of people have those type of things. And I think Ebony would be great for that.
I don't have an opinion about this conversation. I think that this is a conversation for women to have.
You have an opinion? You almost choked on your drink when I said I was newly single.
I think he was laughing at you. That's why I think you should punch him in his face.
Lauren, No, Lauren. No.
You wasn't laughing at?
No.
I'm gonna take my heels off so when I punch, I actually hit your face because you know you're a little little.
I mean, it's not like you gotta wear your heels any place else. It's not like you're going on a date or nothing. Can we go to Donkey?
Wow. Who are you giving the donkey to? Jesus.
4 after the hour, we're going to talk about a pilot named Mike Beaton, and we're going to have a conversation about public service too.
All right. There were going on.
Okay. First of all, if there's such a huge number of men, why is it women complaining there's no good men? And,
I can address that. I'm seeing what Blood Monk is putting on the chat with her trolling surf. The first thing, really quick. When she says nothing that man said is coming to pass, women are fine. When it comes to Kevin Samuels, you keep saying that women are fine. Okay, if that were true, people like Didi, Messi Michon, Chantel, Simon, and others wouldn't be quoting him all the time. They quote him all the time when it comes to things that are going on, that are happening with women, because the man keeps being proven correct about several of the things that he's saying. That's why he keeps being quoted to this day. So that whole thing that nothing that he said has come to pass, no, that's incorrect. Because he wouldn't be getting quoted right now to this day by other content creators, because he's being proven right. That's the first thing. The second thing that Blood Moon is saying, women should only date men on their same level and they will be fine. Okay, I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. The thing is that goes against the whole hypergamy thing that women like to practice. They claim that they like to practice. If they're gonna be with somebody who is on the same level as them, which is something that I don't disagree with, then they're not gonna be practicing hypergamy, which is that they want to get somebody who is on a level above them. That makes men the prize, to be perfectly honest. The women like to say that they are the prize, but why is it that women that say that they are the prize want to practice hypergamy? And that means that they want to get with a man who is in a better position than them. So who's really the prize? If we are gonna be honest, who's really the prize? The other thing that Bloodmoon is saying, let me finish. I'll be quick. And it says she has the right to her opinion. Women shouldn't be dumb enough to do what other people tell them to. Use common sense. Bloodmoon, when you say a woman not being dumb enough to do what other people tell them to do, you are talking about other women, because women have a tendency to do what other women tell them to do. They're definitely not listening to men. I know from experience that when it comes to men trying to use some common sense on women and trying to advise and trying to tell them things that are gonna be better for them, women have a tendency to not being very good listeners, but they will listen to what another woman tells them, even if it is to their detriment. That's something that I have seen it. I have seen it myself, and you can't tell me any difference. The other thing that Blomu was saying, I'm almost done. Not all women are attracted to the same men. There is no competition. There are countless men out there. Except that that's not true. That's not true, because the stats say when it comes to STIs, the pool of women with STIs is larger than the pool of men with STIs. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you, that confirms that a larger pool of women, they're hooking up and lining up to hook up with a relatively smaller pool of men, that those are the ones that they find attractive, that they are attracted to. So that whole notion that there are so many men, there are a lot of men, but the thing that the ones that women want is a relatively small group that they are more than willing to give it up to them. and to hook
Well,
up with and give it up to them.
well, okay. First of all, let's keep this real, and of course, Blood Moon is gonna disagree. But I mean, a lot of these modern women, they want guys, okay, that does not exist. They want a man that's 6 feet tall, that has a six pack, that has a six income figure or seven figure income. Okay, then they have to be perfect. Then they have to be, they have to be the traditional male. They have to pay. They have to pay for, for all her bills, and they have to co-sign everything that the delusional modern woman have to say. And heaven forbid if that man should ask her what she brings to the table. That's all of a sudden, oh, they're triggered. Oh, the men are toxic and everything like that. Please, cry me a river.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I will speak to what Blood Moon was just saying a minute ago when she said YouTube idiots. That is not real life. I'm referring to the real world, not this YouTube fantasy. The problem is, Blood Moon, I agree. Some of it is for clicks and views, but a lot of these young women are really getting influenced by this stuff on YouTube, and they're trying to apply it to their real life. And you're right. Like when it comes to hypergamy, a lot of the times, but it's a lot of women that's selling these young girls this, and these young girls, and we talk about a lot of things, Ramon. We talk about where the economy is going. We talk about what's going on globally, and a lot of these young girls are in their own bubble, thinking what one of these content creators told them is going to hold weight. And meanwhile, it's a lot of people that just don't have it. That money is not there, especially in this type of economy. And they're going after that same pool of men, and they're getting their heart broken. And more than likely, they're becoming bitter about it, and they're trying to apply that to all men, which is a problem. It's even become to the point. I've seen videos where it's it's been older women that's been trying to take their daughters' boyfriends. I saw one video where
Yes, it has gotten to that mothers are competing with their daughters because they want the same men that their daughters want to get together with, and they're beefing. They're beefing. It's getting really freaking sad because
yeah,
maybe the mom had the daughter when she was very young. So let's say that she had the daughter when she was only 15 or 16 years old.
mhm,
By the time the mom is 30, the daughter is already 15, about to be 16, or maybe she's 32, 33, 34, where the at a time when the daughter is gonna be of legal age. So that's when kind of like the competition begins because they,
yeah.
they
'Cause
see their own
I've even
daughters as threats. That's
I've
sad, and they beef and all.
Yeah, I saw a video. I even saw one video in particular where the woman walked in with her phone up, and her mother was laying in the bed with her man. And I think the mother had them really young, so the mother was probably in her early 40s, and they was in their early 20s or so. And then she was like, "What are you doing in the bed with my man?" And then the mother was trying to make excuses. Then the mother just came out flat out said, "You don't be treating him right. You don't treat him right."
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
was like,
remember.
wow.
I,
Wow.
I remember that one. That was a mess. That was a mess. Okay, Blood Moon, that's weird. There are different races of women and ethnicities, and not all of these people date each other. Well, we're here in the United States. Asian women are very much open to get together with somebody, but usually white. And so that whole notion that they are we're not even talking about race. Here in the United States, anybody can hook up and get together with anybody. So,
This mentality is transcending past race. It's a lot, but
yeah,
yes, it is a lot of this. This
it's a
is a
North
lot of
American thing. It's more of
yeah.
a North
Yeah.
American.
I mean, look at Jenny Mai and Jeezy, for example. Jenny Mai is
Mhm.
Asian, but she's Asian American. Her mentality is far different than
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah, yeah,
traditional
yeah. I mean,
Vietnamese.
she's a modern woman. Yeah, okay, yeah, she's what, Vietnamese?
Yeah.
and her mom and maybe her family is from the old country, but she was born and raised in the United States, and she's a modern woman. Yeah, she's Asian, but she's still a modern woman.
Yeah, and that's like even with Jeannie Mai, she said it herself that I think my anger issues is costing me my marriage. So more than likely, she probably was used to talking to her ex-husband like that too before she linked up with Jeezy. So that's
No,
probably
Blondie, I didn't say everyone. I didn't say everyone is attracted to a different race. That's not what I said. But many people are. Many people do will rather date out, are more open to date out. It happens a lot in this country. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
yeah,
Don't be in
that's
denial.
everywhere. But yeah, but like
But
you
can you,
said,
can you
well, not
imagine?
everybody, but it happens. It happens
Yeah.
a lot. Like I think I've said numerous times, I have Puerto Ricans in my family. Like I've grown up seeing people date uh, interculturally and interracially quite often.
Okay, but if Jeannie Mai doesn't, okay, Jeannie Mai doesn't like black men, so she prefers white men because she was with a white man and she wouldn't give him a baby. I
She
mean,
sure didn't. I forgot about that. She sure didn't. Yeah, you're right
yeah,
about that.
but because I thought that she was just dating the white man, that white man, for a long time, but she didn't even give him a baby. She didn't do that for him because talking about that she didn't want to have kids. She had a whole white man for a long time and didn't give him a kid. Aren't white men Asian women's preference?
Yes. Most
At
likely.
least over here. So I don't know what
Yeah.
happened there. I mean,
Um,
she wasn't rich enough for her or something.
also, do you think he was chuckling when he seen that she was getting divorced, Ramon? You think he might have been laughing in
The what was
her
it?
ex-husband? I said you think he might have been chuckling, laughing
Most,
when
most likely. I
yeah.
remember that not long after those two got divorced, he got together with a blonde girl, and it wasn't long before he got her pregnant and got married, and he seemed to be happy. We heard things seemed to be working out for him just fine. Uh, but that it seems it seems that even if he was a preference, she still didn't think that he was good enough. Now, London is talking about that the ex-husband didn't have as much money as her. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know
You're
if the
delusional.
husband had money. He had a decent, solid employment, and the average wages of white men are among the highest ones. Maybe Asian men might make more.
Asian men are the highest. They're the highest.
Maybe
Average, I think.
Asian men make more money than white men, but
Yeah,
most
I think
likely
the
still he
average
was
income
still
for
paid.
white men are 65,000. I think
Mhm.
so. I think that the average income for white men may be 60. Is it 65,000? I think it's 65,000 if I'm not mistaken. I could be
Yeah.
wrong.
Okay. She used to belittle him in public. Well, that's the thing. Again, like we say, she's a modern woman. She's not traditional. A traditional woman wouldn't be doing that shit. She wouldn't. She would have more respect. Yeah.
So, my boy Ramon, I gotta ask you your opinion on Remy Ma and Papoose.
It's very disappointing. It's very disappointing
And
because
I
I
like
always,
Remy too, man. I
yeah,
always liked Remy,
I
man.
always
I
had
didn't think
made
she would
her.
do something like that.
I
I really
always
didn't
had
think.
nothing but respect, nothing but respect for Remy Ma because she always seemed level headed, even though with her past, because we know her past, we know that
Yeah,
she fucked up.
yeah,
She was doing some ratchet gang shit, and she got in trouble and went away for a few years. But when she came out, uh, she seemed to be all straight as an arrow as she was supposed to, because I mean she was allowed out of prison, but of course, she was going to be on probation, and somebody on probation that lasts for a certain number of years. I don't know if she's still on probation, because it must be a long probation considering that she shot somebody. So that
Yeah.
should mean that, okay, they let her out of prison, but it's gonna have to be dealing with a long probation and having limited movement, not being able to travel like that unless getting permission. Whatever, however it is that works. I don't know how that works, but most likely she still has limited movement because she may be on probation. But come on. Papoose held her down all that time, all these years. He's never been in any kind of scandal, nothing that involves another woman. And but it's an allegation. Do we know, is it really confirmed? Because apparently she hooked up with a younger version of Papoose, somebody who is kind of like younger, who doesn't have much money, and maybe she just wanted to taste a little variety, which is something that happens to us men a lot. I mean, we don't. It doesn't make it right. We don't mean anything by it, because I mean, the love for the significant other is gonna be there. But with celebrities, that they deal with a lot of temptation all the time. So yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Remy. I mean, she's not the spring chicken she used to be. I mean, you would think that she's more mature, that she knows better, and she's been looking better than ever, more feminine. Like, it has done her good. It has done her good being with Papoose. It seemed like she would listen to him, that she has respect for him. So for there to be that allegation, I'm not completely convinced. I just find it a little difficult to believe until there is something that is 100% confirmed. I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt, because we don't know. We don't know for real. It's an allegation. There sure is, but I'm not completely convinced.
Right. I would just say this. I'm praying that it's not, because I'll be extremely disappointed in Remy. Apparently, Papoose and that guy had an altercation. Um, where I guess Papoose like either swung on him or knocked him out or something like that, and they had words after that, him and Remy or whatever. So that's it's all alleged, by the way. But I
Mhm.
would say that would be real foul, Remy, because that man said he went to go visit. He's never had nothing but positive things to say about his wife. He said, "I went to go visit her every day." He said that hurt him financially. He's like, "I
Mhm.
want to visit her every day," and I think she might have been upstate. And driving upstate to one of those penitentiaries from New York City is not
Mhm.
no walk in the park. That's a nice drive. And
Yeah.
so I would be extremely disappointed if Remy uh, said that, if she did that. Also, I wanted to know a lot of migrants, the situation with the migrants, what's your opinion on that? Because it's a lot of migrants that are arriving in the city, here in my city, in the city of Chicago, a lot of migrants that's arriving in New York City. I know you being a Texan,
Mhm.
uh, they've been coming over from Venezuela, Honduras, different places like that.
Yeah.
And you've had a lot of these Republican states that said we can't not afford to house the migrants.
Mhm.
We're going to ship them up north, which they've been shipping them to New York, Philadelphia, Chicago,
Yeah.
different places like that. There's been a lot of people that have been very angry about that situation, saying that we can't. We're us as Americans are barely making it here. All of these different programs and stuff like that is not for the American people. And a lot of people have voiced their frustration and their hostility, because even here in my city, there's been a lot of migrants that's been put in camps Not camps. What am I saying? Tents. They've created like tented cities here. Schools that's been shut down on the south side. They've been housed in those particular buildings and different things like that. And so, what's your opinion on that, Ramon and Jose? And I'll go with my opinion last.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Jose have a word because he's dealing directly with that. So, Jose, you got the floor on this. Jose, are you there?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I wanted you to chime in first because I know that I understand that you are dealing with the situation directly. You are actually working with many of the migrants, so and maybe you might have a better opinion than I could.
Okay. Well, the fact of the matter is, many of them are trying to adjust to life here in the United States, particularly life here in New York. Some of them have been more successful than others. The key, in my opinion, is the ability to adapt. Living in a country where the customs and the habits are totally different. Also, another thing is that's a barrier is English. Okay, even
Mhm.
though like many of our offices where they try to get some type of social services or any type of assistance, even though you have staff that does speak Spanish. I mean, there's still barriers because of the nuances that different Latino groups speak. Okay, and certain words that have one meaning to one group has a meaning to another group. So those are, and there's also cultural differences as far as compared to say being born and raised in say Venezuela or Colombia compared to life here in the United States.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. No, I figure that you had more of an insight since you're working directly with the groups with the migrants. Now, overall, the only thing that I can say when it comes to that is that the deportations are gonna happen. Are gonna happen. I mean, there is it's a myth saying that because the administration is democratic the border is wide open and nobody's gonna get deported. That's not true. If we look at history, at least in the history of the last 30 years or so, I mean, democratic administrations deport people by the millions. I mean, the Clinton administration deported something like 9 million people, something like that. So it was an average of like 1.1 million per year of the administration. So that whole notion that Democrat administrations don't deport is not that's just not true. That's not what historically is verifiable. I mean, the Obama administration is say it's said that it deported the most people ever, and that Trump wanted to compete with that and he couldn't. Because the numbers were so high when it came to the deportations from the Obama administration. So I don't think that this administration is going to be any different when it comes to that. The deportations are going to happen. People are going to get rerouted and somehow brought back, brought back to a border. They're not going to. A lot of those people are not going to be staying in the country for long. I can assure you. If history is any predictor, I'm telling you, there is going to be deportations. They're not just the whole open border thing. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Well,
But can I ask you a question real quick, Ramon? But what do you stand like? Do you think is right? Do you think is wrong? That people, with people coming from South America, of course, because
Mhm.
Venezuela is in turmoil right now, and of course, people coming from Honduras and Guatemala, and it's not a cakewalk trying to get into Mexico from
No,
those
no.
countries either. Because sometimes they run across people in Mexico that either rob them, you know, uh, deport them back before they even make it to the United States. Um,
Mhm.
what do you think about? Do you think it's right or wrong, or is there no right or wrong when it comes to survival?
That's the thing. That's the thing because it's not so much about right or wrong. Morally, it may seem you could say that it's wrong that are crossing the border without documentation and all of that. But it's more about the why. Why is it happening? Why are these people doing that, taking the risks that they're taking? Because many of the people that try to get across the border, many of the people don't make it. Many of those people don't make it past the Rio Grande. Many of those people don't make it past the deserts that they're trying to cross. It's a big risk that they're making. There are many skeletons. Many skeletons out on those deserts where about the people that didn't make it because they couldn't handle the heat. I mean, they were trying to cross a desert and they succumbed to the heat. So it doesn't really matter then if it's right or wrong,
Hmm.
unless somebody is gonna be an asshole and say, "Oh, they get what they deserve." Now,
Right.
that's being an asshole about it. But the thing is more about the why. Why are these people taking a risk? What is it happening in their respective countries that should be addressed so the migrations don't keep happening all over the place. I mean, because migrations have been happening for a long time. There is nothing new to it. Now, the optics and the frequency of the migrations do seem to be up more than the usual.
Hmm.
But migrations have been happening for a long time, and yeah, if you wanna say from a point of view of border security, you could say that these people are wrong for doing that, but why are they doing it? It's the why what I'm more concerned about. I mean, if the why could be resolved, then these people wouldn't have a why. They wouldn't have a reason to be trying to get to the border and to try to cross it. To cross it. I mean, maybe more countries should be following the El Salvador example. I mean, have you seen what has happened in El Salvador since the current president, has taken control of the country and has been doing a major drastic cleanup job when it comes to the MS-13 problem, the Mara Salvatrucha gun.
Oh, they was cutting up down there in El Salvador, and that's not even a Salvadorian gang. That's an American gang. They're from Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
they started in California. Yes, that's an export. That's a United States export to Central America. But at least in El Salvador, the president has dealt with it very swiftly. And credit to him, the country is much safer now. I understand that there is an election coming up, and because of the constitution of the country's constitution, there is kind of like a limitation for the president to be reelected. I will have to look into it, but he wants to make a change in the constitution so that he can run again for president. And I don't have a problem with it. Now, the thing is that we do not want, of course, um, the whole president for life thing. And we wouldn't want that
That
happening.
might as well be a dictatorship.
Yeah,
That's that's a
yeah.
Well,
yeah, that's a
We wouldn't
dictatorship.
want. We would. Nayib kind of. He seems like a good dude. He seems like a good dude. Very intelligent guy. He has done an excellent job when it comes to controlling the whole situation with the MS-13, and that was a very top priority situation that had to be addressed to to ensure security for the people, and now people can move around and function and be more at ease because they are not having to deal with the MS-13.
And you know what? And you know, when you say that, it's one thing that I just on a side note, I didn't realize because I'm a documentary watching mofo, right?
uh,
Like some of these jails in Latin America, in South America,
mhm,
and like Russia and different places like that, make American jails look like Disneyland, man. Like I was watching a documentary on a Russian prison, and I was just like, I won't make it. I won't make it in there because you run past people here, they be like, man, what you in here for? Man, I had beef with somebody. I got the firing. I was trying to hit him, but I end up hitting somebody else, and I ain't even get him, man. But I'm locked up and I got priors on gun charges and dope charges. Man, you go over there to one of them Russian prisons. They was interviewing one guy, and that guy was imprisoned for deleting his neighbor, cutting him up, and
mhm.
putting him in a pot of soup and feeding him to the rest of the neighbors in the building. I'm like, I ain't gonna make it. I ain't gonna make
Oh
it.
shit!
I am not gonna make it. I
No,
am not
no,
gonna make
you can't. You don't wanna mess with the with
I
the
mess around
Russians.
and be as soon as them lights go out, I'll be crying. Like, Lord Jesus, please get me out of this situation. I don't even know how the hell I ended up in Russia anyway.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm,
you can try doing what Britain and Ghana try to do and try to export pot over there in Russia, and then well, we all saw what happened. But then again, uh, she got set free because we exchanged one criminal for another criminal. But getting back
That
to the
seemed like something out of an Austin Powers movie. We exchanged international arms dealer for
for a basketball player.
for a butch basketball player. That's we a joke. That was something straight out
Yeah,
of
that did not
Austin
look good.
Powers movie.
That didn't
but
look good at all, man. Yeah.
but getting back to the situation with the migrants, and I said it, and I actually spoke with some of these people. Okay, this is my thing. I don't have a problem helping them as long as we take care of our own people.
Mhm,
Okay, that's but unfortunately, it's like in New York. New York is going broke dealing with these people with these people with arrogance and say, "Come on over, come to New York," and all that sort of thing, and we'll feed you, we'll give you free room, we'll put you we'll put you and your kids in school without any barriers and what have you, and and meanwhile we have our own homeless that we have that that we have to deal with, but now we have like over 100,000 of these people, and then the mayor is having having conviction fits because it's like we cannot take more of these people. But then again, he's the one in welcome put out the welcome mat. And the
mhm,
fact of the matter is this: if I was president of the United States, this is what would have happened. I would have a talk with all the governors, and I would say, "Look, this is a humanitarian problem. We're going to take a certain number of people, and they're going to go to each state. Once they reach that limit, that's it. Okay." And it's
mhm.
gotten so bad that at one point where Mayor Adams was offering New Yorkers $100 a night to convert their homes into homeless shelter.
Yeah, that wasn't a good idea. That's just not nah, nah. Because I mean, maybe people of the same nationalities will be more open to that idea. But
And
for the most
you know what?
part,
And sometimes that's true, and then sometimes it isn't, and that goes across all.
that's why I'm saying some.
Yeah,
I'm talking about some, not everybody, but there might have been some people who were from X that are descendants of X nationality, so they will
yeah.
be more open to taking people of that nationality, same nationality as them. But it could only be like a few. I mean, if there are people that have already been here for a couple of generations are more likely to say no.
Now, yeah,
Do not want that. Mhm.
and I'm not saying it was this deep, but I do remember as a kid, of course, when it comes to the Hispanic population in my city, it's majority Mexican. They make up the majority.
Mhm.
And I do remember, more Mexican Americans making fun of Mexicans who had just got here,
Mhm.
calling them paisas and, they country and different things like that, and kind of talking down to them when I was growing up. And I'm like, that's not cool, man, because I mean, like I say, it happens all across the board. Because I remember hearing stories when I was growing up of like my grandparents and stuff coming here from the South and other black people making fun of them and talking down to them. Dog, you stupid, you country, y'all can barely read, you live in shotgun houses and all like different stuff like that. But like you said, I think more people too. It comes down to nationality. My personal opinion on it, I think this is more of a political play than anything. Um, Blood Moon would know a little bit more because Blood Moon, of course, Blood Moon is a New Yorker, but she has original ties to the island of Hispaniola. And I remember looking at a footage of people from Haiti off the other side of the island rushing in at the border in DR. And then when I looked at the footage here in the United States, we had people, whether it be from Venezuela, Guatemala, Honduras, rushing in at the border in the United States. And you can see the parallels because this is mostly like when it comes to these governments. A lot of these whether it be the islands or the states here, is built off of cheap labor, and it's more of a power play. You destabilize a country, make the people desperate in the country, and then pretend that you're saving them from a situation that you created within, their countries to come here for crumbs. And most people are not smart enough to see who the problem is, so they attack the people that's coming instead of the issue. Now, of course, I understand that people are trying to survive. People are hungry and people are desperate. Not mad at them at all.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing because the risking when you risk your life, these people are risking their life. That doesn't come without desperation. They're not because I think it's funny because a lot of people think that okay, these people are taking that risk just so they can hop up off the border and sign up for welfare. I mean, people don't walk potentially hundreds and hundreds of miles just so they can get some welfare. I mean, it's not like that. There is more to that. I mean, they're actually trying to get away from potential danger. They're trying to preserve their lives. I mean, and people on this side of the border can make fun of them all they want and call him illegal if it makes them feel better. That's perfectly fine. I mean, but I will be looking. I will exhort people to look at as to the why of it, as to why it is happening. It's a complicated
Well,
issue. It's something that
some
has
people,
been founded for a long time.
some people can't critically think that far, Ramon. Just like when we talk about, like, let's say the island of Hispaniola,
Yeah.
the DR can't afford to take all of these people from Haiti. The DR is
No,
building.
yeah, because the narrative that they paint over here is that
Right.
The DR is so rich and prosperous, and yes,
No,
it is
no.
doing better.
I mean, it's
It
a
is
gorgeous
doing better.
country, but they have some resources, but they don't have no resources to take on an additional 5 million people from the other side of the island. That's just not how it works. But at the same time, the government is exploiting those people for cheap labor because they're the ones that's building the
Oh,
buildings and
that has been
everything over there.
happening for a long
That's
time.
working the sugar cane. Same thing here in the United States. The United States is exploiting the people that's coming from South America
Mhm.
for cheap labor and also for an extra voting block.
Mhm.
and they're doing that purposely to create tension amongst people that's here versus a more
Okay, if you're talking to make it a voting block, if you're talking about making them a democratic voting block, that doesn't always work because, as you know, look at what happens in Miami. Because many of the Cubans, many of the
yeah.
Cubans
See,
down there,
that's why I
they
believe that's
vote
why it
Republican.
started. And another thing too, if you notice something with Biden
Mhm.
now, the Venezuelans was able to come over,
Yeah.
the Hondurans was able to come over, the Guatemalans was able to come over, even certain Nicaraguans was able to come over. But
Mhm.
when the Haitians was at the border, you rounded all of the Haitians up and sent them back.
Mhm.
We haven't heard anything about it since. You sent all of the Haitians back, but everybody from South America, from various countries in South America, can come over. And you also let the Afghans over here, and you let the Ukrainians over here. You gave the Afghans homes, housing. You gave, like, they're working in jobs. The Ukrainians are getting all types of benefits and everything else. But when the Haitians was at the border, you sent all the Haitians back, or most of them, I should say. So that tells me a lot about Biden, and especially what he thinks of of black people. But and then also when you look at what's going on as well. Oh, you saw a lot of, okay, I haven't seen many Africans blood moon. I haven't seen many here. But I would say, like, oh, what Blood Moon said, what is crumbs to Rakim is a lot for a poor migrant. Not all, but most start with crumbs and end up making a good life with. I know I'm not I know that, Blood Moon. I'm not saying it's necessarily crumbs. It's better than not having anything. What I'm saying is that a lot of politicians and government people and these people that run the corporations, they exploit that from those people. They're not getting what they should be getting, and they use that as a way to undermine the people to not pay them a proper wage. Because you're a New Yorker. Look at how high the rent is in New York City. And even more, not just the New Yorker, Blood Moon, you're a man, what they call it, a Manhattanite. Is that the proper term? Well, you from Manhattan. and and look,
Well,
and look at how expensive that is making they make it extremely difficult for people here to barely make it. Now people that's coming from real poor circumstances, whether it be in Latin America or the islands, they're able to make do. But for the average person that's working here, it's extremely difficult to make it right now. This economy is terrible.
mhm.
Did she say I'm just a Dominican?
But
Yeah, yeah, just like I'm just a Puerto Rican.
So it's the
Yeah,
same. It's the same thing. Like, because when we see the people, oh, like when we seen people, like, for instance, over in the DR, they be like, "Oh, we got to send all the Haitians back," and I understand the frustration because, of course, they don't have the resources. But how much of that country you think is being built off of cheap Haitian labor?
yeah, but you know what? Something that's something that they don't want to discuss. I mean, because it's always easier to to
No,
pay
yeah, I just said
people.
that to I just said that to sorry, Jose, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just said that to map out the parallels, because you have people always get mad at the groups. They never get mad at the people who's pulling the strings in the background. Like here in the United States, people get mad at the migrants. Don't get mad at the migrants. They're taking advantage of an opportunity for them to do. Get mad at the people that you voted in. It's like when people, it's all of the migrants. This is what you voted for. You ain't pay attention to what you voted for. You voted for this.
Again, this is the thing. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem per se dealing with with us helping the migrants. Okay, however, when it gets to the point when we neglect our own people, that's where that's where I have a problem. Okay. And the fact of the matter is this whole humanitarian crisis has been screwed up from the get-go. Okay. You know, because realistically speaking, we don't know a lot about these people. We don't know if these people have criminal backgrounds and what have you. So we're just taking all these people, with and basically more or less taking them at their word. I mean, and it's a you know the fact of the matter is it shouldn't be like states like New York, Massachusetts, and New Jersey and Illinois that have to deal with these people. Every state should get its fair portion of migrants, including states like Florida and Texas, where these people to ship them from one state to another state because they don't want to deal with it. I mean, it dealing with unknown people, it's a problem because you don't know what to expect from them. I get it, but the thing is this: it would not have been so crazy had there been some sort of plan of strategy to deal with the situation, and then you share the pain with all the states equally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think people, of course, like I said, I'm not like, I understand people are trying to make it. So I'm not against that at all. The only thing I would say, if it's becoming a problem for people, they can't, is usually when people are pulled in from another country, it's usually to undermine the people here. And if you always look at American history, look at how they outsourced all the jobs so they wouldn't have to pay people American wages here. It's all about greed. And in terms with greed, they have people at the bottom, or a lot of people that's in the middle class or the working class, fighting against each other. Why they're trying to, pretty much keep that going so they can keep being greedy and gluttonous and exploiting people for cheap labor. And like even the way that everything is set up, like, okay, we work at jobs from sun up to sundown and tear our bodies up, especially as men. We work a lot of physical jobs and tear our bodies up
Usually, yeah.
to get paid, whether it's warehouses, whether it's construction, trucks, and different things like that. Now, let's say I decide that I don't want to work, and then I decide that I want to go commit crimes. It takes, believe it or not, it's a lot of work just to commit crimes, especially, and this is looking at from the fact that what I'm saying, as a drug dealer, you have to go out, you have to cook up your drugs, you have to sell them, you have to worry about somebody not paying you your money, you have to worry about
Yeah. even,
they
even
don't-
if, yeah, even if you're being a criminal, if you want to do crime right, it
but
takes
but the funny thing, but the parallel to that, you know what the parallel to that is, Ramon? The
Mhm.
parallel to that now, I'm watching over my shoulder, right? Because somebody may decide, you know what, I don't feel like paying Rakim today. I think he might be soft. I'm gonna try him, and then Lord, forgive me if I have to do something to somebody. Now I'm in prison for the
Yeah.
rest of my life, and guess what? I'm working in there till I die because you got to get a job, and you still are you still
Yeah,
working on
you
the
still
dollar.
having to do
So
labor.
it's like it's a whole
Employment thing.
system. It's a whole system that's structured. But I was going
Yeah,
to ask if you can play this video for me, Ramon, because I put it in the
yeah,
background.
yeah. I
It's-
saw that link.
okay.
Okay, I'm on it. No, but it's like, yeah, you will end up in prison. You're still gonna have to work, except that then that clause of the 13th Amendment comes to play, where you are
Right.
gonna be working. It's gonna be for free, just like a slave.
Right. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I'm gonna bring up. I'm gonna be playing the audio. Let me see if I can get it to.
I think you can actually show the video because this well is extremely old. I don't know if it'll get flagged down, but it's George Carlin, and this is from his stand up in New York in 1992.
Okay, let me see. Okay, here we go.
Now, there's one thing you might have noticed I don't complain about. Politicians. Everybody complains about politicians. Everybody says they suck. Yeah! Well, where do people think these politicians come from? They don't fall out of the sky. They don't pass through a membrane from another reality. They come from American parents and American families, American homes, American schools, American churches, American businesses, and American universities, and they're elected by American citizens. This is the best we can do, folks. This is what we have to offer. It's what our system produces. Garbage in, garbage out. If you have selfish, ignorant citizens, you're going to get selfish, ignorant leaders. And term limits ain't going to do you any good. You're just going to wind up with a brand new bunch of selfish, ignorant Americans. So maybe it's not the politicians who suck. Maybe something else sucks around here. Like the public. Yeah, the public sucks. There's a nice campaign slogan for somebody. The public sucks. Fuck hope. Fuck hope. Because if it's really just the fault of these politicians, then where are all the other bright people of conscience? Where are all the bright, honest, intelligent Americans ready to step in and save the nation and lead the way? We don't have people like that in this country. Everybody's at the mall, scratching his ass, picking his nose, taking his credit card out of his fanny pack and buying a pair of sneakers with lights in them. So I have solved this little political dilemma for myself in a very simple way. On election day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them. I don't vote. Two reasons I don't vote. First of all, it's meaningless. This country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. The shit they shuffle around every 4 years doesn't mean a fucking thing. And secondly, I don't vote because I believe if you vote, you have no right to complain. People like to twist that around. I know. They say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. But where's the logic in that? If you vote and you elect dishonest, incompetent people, and they get into office and screw everything up, well, you are responsible for what they have done. You caused the problem. You voted them in. You have no right to complain. I, on the other hand, who did not vote, who in fact did not even leave the house on election day, am in no way responsible for what these people have done and have every right to complain as loud as I want about the mess you created that I had nothing to do with. So I know that a little later on this year, you're going to have another one of those really swell presidential elections that you like so much. You'll enjoy yourselves. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm sure as soon as the election is over, your country will improve immediately. As for me, I'll be home on that day doing essentially the same thing as you. The only difference is when I get finished masturbating, I'm going to have a little something to show for it, folks.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
that was good. That was good. Yeah, George Carlin, rest in peace. Always telling it like it is. He was
Yeah.
telling it like it is. Yeah.
Definitely. So it's all a political game to exploit people that's in desperation, that's poor, and everything. Like what Blood Moon was saying, I understand that. What I mean by crumbs, Blood Moon. I just mean the work, by what people deserve to get paid. When you're putting, we only got one body. When you're putting all of this damage on your body and working in fields or working it with steel and accidents and all types of stuff like that, and day in and day out, and a lot of the times you barely conscious, you barely alert because you only got 3-4 hours of sleep before you got to get back up and go do it again, only for you to get your paycheck, which is pennies on the dollar from some greedy corporate, for some greedy corporation, and then turn around and split those pennies on the dollar piece by piece to pay other greedy corporations for light bill, gas bill, water bill, mortgage, rent, different things like that. It's all a bunch of BS, man. And they use this to turn people against each other. Hey, Ramon, that you know what? That wasn't the video I meant to play. I sent you another link. Can you play that one? That's only a minute long.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Okay, there's also a George Carlin, but it's a different one. No, but what you were saying, what he was saying on this other video is relevant because it has to do with the ineptitude of certain or many of the government officials. And now that we're since he was talking about government officials, there was an announcement. There was an announcement that Dianne Feinstein passed away. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah,
Who
yeah.
was
I
that
mean,
again?
Dianne Feinstein
Dianne Feinstein. I'm not sure if I'm familiar
was
with her.
the politician that she was 90 years old.
Oh, okay.
And she was the one who was trying to pass gun control, has been trying to pass gun control since the 90s.
Right.
And she was from California. She was from California. There is already a whole bunch of gun control over there, and that was one of those things that she was known for, and trying to pass a whole bunch of gun control. And her being in California, of course, many. A lot of that may have passed in California, but she wanted to make it nationwide and basically wanted to take people's firearms. And that's something that she was known for. She was very kind of like, I don't know if it is what you would call
another
audience.
Sheila A.
Another who? Another
Sheila A. I think what's her name? Sheila A. Jackson out there in California too, trying to come up
okay.
with.
No, Sheila Jackson Lee. I think her name is
Yes,
Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sheila E is a musician. That's someone else. Okay, I'm gonna be sharing this, and here we go.
Now to balance the scale, I'd like to talk about.
Okay, let me.
Now to balance the scale, I'd like to talk about some things that bring us together. Things that point out our similarities instead of our differences. Because that's all you ever hear about in this country is our differences. That's all the media and the politicians are ever talking about, the things that separate us, things that make us different from one another. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They try to divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing, happens to work. You know, anything different, that's what they're going to talk about. Race, religion, ethnic and national background, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do, keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank. You know how I describe the economic and social classes in this country? The upper class keeps all of the money, pays none of the taxes. Middle class pays all of the taxes, does all of the work. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Keep them showing up at those jobs.
Well, yeah. It's something that is happening right now when it comes to the politicians trying to keep us fighting each other. That's something that is happening right now.
Right.
So that's very true.
Like the games that they play, man. What's this dude Pritzker, Governor Pritzker here in Illinois? He originally came from California. Tried to tell friends of mine, right? Oh, Rakim, you crazy. You crazy for owning all of these firearms and all of that. So
somebody told you about that?
Yeah. These was friends of mine that didn't agree with me owning like firearms and all of that. I told them, look, man, I'm a single man, you know. I don't have a family yet. But the dude that was arguing with me about, I'm like, you got a family, man. You got a child, and you got a wife. Like the area that you live in, is decent, but it's surrounded by poor areas too. And I'm like, and people, they be lurking around trying to, you know, get in some of these houses and all of that. Told them, Go ahead, man. Get yourself for starters. Get yourself a starters AR rifle. Probably, an XD 9 millimeter, something to start off with. Oh man, I ain't got to do all of that. I mean, because somebody and these days, Ramon, we've seen it on some of the footages on some of these YouTube channels and even watching the news. Sometimes people are coming in 3-4 deep now in houses. It's not like back in the day when the crackhead was breaking in your house and trying to. No, some of these shorties, these kids got extended magazines with beams on them coming up in people's houses. So I told them, hey, go ahead, get one right now, because the game that these politicians play is they know that a majority, because America is a gun culture country, we are trigger happy here in America. That's America was built off of violence and taking what you feel that's rightfully yours, even if that means blood and deletion. So that's the American way. And I told him, I was like, man, go ahead, man, get yourself an AR-15. Man, I ain't on that. Okay. The Highland Park shooting in Highland Park, Illinois. Pew pew, I should say. I don't want to say words that trigger anything, but the Highland Park kaboom happened.
Yeah.
Now, what happened after that? What do politicians mostly do that are for gun control? They wait till the next mass kaboom happens. And then once that happens, then they use that tragedy to be able to play on people's feelings to get them to sign for gun control. He got all of these. Oh, go ahead. What you were saying?
No, because they make it about the guns and not about why the incident happened. I mean, they put it on the gun as if that's gonna be the solution, and that's not gonna be the solution, because the guns are still gonna be there. There are more guns than people in this country. It's a unique situation in this country that doesn't happen anywhere else. But you were saying?
Yeah. So he waited for that to happen. Then he got a bunch of soccer moms who wanted to complain. Oh, but what about the crime in Chicago? Sweetheart, you don't live. You live an hour away. You like this prestigious side. You ain't nowhere near the south side or the west side of Chicago. The only time you even come into the city is to go to Millennial Park and probably Soldiers Fields where the Bears play in downtown. So with that rally, he signed into law banning AR-15s in Illinois. One of my friends, the same friend down the line, man, I went to go look into, dude, they not selling them nowhere no more. Well, I told you that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I told you that was gonna happen. You was a little too late. Now you can only get handguns in the state of Illinois. You can't own any more. You can't own any rifles. But lucky for me, I got mine. So I'm like, man, you better settle with it.
Yeah, you got yours.
Yeah, I got
mine. So you should be good. You should be good. I hope they don't make anything like retroactive or something. That you take your shit.
I got all mine. It's nice too. She good. A lot of parts, believe it or not, Blood Moon, it's not what people make it in the media. They just use Chicago as a scapegoat. It's even nice parts on the south side. Even Fighter's uncle live in Mount Greenwood. That's the neighboring area that I grew up, Beverly and Mount Greenwood, mostly black and Irish over there, and they have pretty nice houses. I grew up in poor neighborhoods throughout the city, but it's not what people make it seem. It's not. It's a lot of nice areas all over. But yeah, North Chicago is the most prestigious area, like in Michigan Avenue, where the Gucci and Fendi and all of that stuff is, and it's similar to New York, but it's his own thing. Okay. From what I hear, it's much cleaner too.
But I visited Chicago years ago, and I actually enjoyed my time over there. Of course, I was attending a huge union convention, everything like that. But I was able to see some of the, some of the spots in Chicago, and in fact, they're gonna have the convention next year in Chicago. So hopefully, I'll be able to attend and and then take in some of the sites. Of course, the problem with conventions is you have people who talk and talk and talk.
Yeah, you fall asleep. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be very good at going to conventions because of that. Because there are people that are yap a lot and they're boring at it, and they like the sound of their own voice. And I mean, I don't even deal with so much with meetings at my job. I mean, I could have been promoted to positions that will require me to be on at meetings all day. I don't want to do that. I will be falling asleep. It will be rude of me because there are people
Yeah,
that are very
I've fallen.
long-winded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've fallen asleep at a couple uh
Ah,
meetings before, and then
damn.
you kind of just like wake up and you like, what happened? Anybody
Oh,
notice that I was asleep? Like,
Ah,
be looking
well,
around and all of that. Yeah.
okay. Well, first of all, it starts usually starts about 9 or 10 o'clock, what have you. So and we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we go, well, okay, everybody, now we're going to go to resolution number 895,433, and we're going to talk about the resolution to rerun resolutions. And then you have people at the mics talking about, what does the gentleman want to say? And they talk on and on and on and on. And it's like having a whole bunch of saccharines there.
Mhm.
oh, okay.
Oh man. Oh man. I mean, I can only everybody gonna get some rest in that note. But going back, you want to hear something funny, fellas, going back to firearms for a quick second. I
Yeah.
don't know why I was doing this, man, but I think I might have told this story before. But like I ain't got no business really like don't get me wrong. Look, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1",
Mm,
220. But like I was watching like the documentary on John Wayne Gacy, right?
mhm.
And that is not Blood Moon, you just be capping on here. I swear to God, you be capping. Blood
Okay.
Moon be
So
capping. But anyway,
so don't you
but
get into baseball? Okay.
uh
Okay. So you got the Cubs and the White Sox,
we
right?
got the Cubs, the White Sox, we got the Blackhawks in hockey, we got the Chicago Bulls, we got the Chicago Bears, and we
Right.
got the Chicago Fire, which is our soccer team as well.
Ah, well, those are few things to do, and I'm sure that there are
Yeah, man.
landmarks and museums and
There's parades, all types of stuff. We the third largest city in the country, Blood Moon. We're nowhere near as big as New York because y'all really got 5 cities in one. Brooklyn, the
Mhm.
Bronx, Queens, Manhattan, and Staten Island is really its own cities. And then y'all got Long Island, Yonkers, and Mount Vernon and New Rochelle and all the surrounding areas too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
It's just messing with you. You know
I
that I'm
know,
Well, and,
I know, Blood Moon be
trying
capping.
to trigger. Trying to
Joaquin,
trigger.
don't forget, we have some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. We have Orchard Beach. We have Coney
You know what?
Island.
You know what? You know what? You know what, Jose? If
Don't
they had
start
a
with that.
Yelp review on you trying to sell people Orchard Beach, it'll be at a -1 star right now.
Well, actually, one person referred to Orchard Beach as the Riviera of the French Riviera of the Bronx.
Yeah. You know what, Jose? You're every definition of a New Yorker. You a city slicker. I don't trust your word.
Ah, oh,
if
damn.
I
if
mean,
if
come
people
on.
had a choice, if people had a choice to go to the Caribbeans in the DR or Puerto Rico or Jamaica on those beaches versus Orchard Beach, in the Bronx.
That's like mud.
With
I mean, come on.
with
The
all that,
sand is
A whole
with,
bunch of mud, and I'm being nice because
with
I'm
all
here
of that,
to
with
work
all of that
and-
fecal matter and all of that oil that those gas stations and other people then dumped into that water.
Mhm.
I don't. Do y'all even got any fish in that? In probably
Not
not.
likely.
They all
Not
gone.
likely. Not likely. if you got sewer water on that beach, then whatever fish there was is long gone.
First of all, I mean the sand is pure white as the driven snow, and then you have some of the most bluest water over there. Okay, so
Jose, you that same dude that on that episode of Martin that sold Martin and Gina onto that vacation where they had that thing that looked like that puppy in they in they room. You remember that episode, Ramon?
Oh,
When they went, they won a little vacation thing and they ended up running into Tommy and Pam out there, and that was the worst vacation. They had like a fold out bed that came out the wall and all types. You that guy, Jose. But yeah, so like I was sitting there one time, man. I'm sitting here, it's night. I don't know, Netflix be having some stuff on. So I decided to watch the biography of John Wayne Gacy. And so I'm sitting there watching it. And man, I remember as a kid that dude used to creep me out, man. He used to give me all types of nightmares. Yeah, I'm sitting there watching, man, and I hear something shatter in the kitchen. Like, glass shatter. I was like, I got scared. I ain't gonna lie, man. I got scared as hell. I got scared, bro. I put that thing on pause. I was like, yeah, all right. Went under the bed, came up with that AR. I went under the kitchen. Man, I had set the damn bag of glass bottles on top of the garbage can, and the weight caused it to fall off. We got to recycle. We got to recycle my area, so I had a whole bag of glass bottles on top of the damn garbage can. But I was like, damn, man, somebody coming in here to get me. That's all right, man.
At least you were ready. Like no punk. At least you were ready.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. My heart was pacing going around that corner because I'm like, yeah, okay. If it's gonna go down, this how it's gonna go down.
Hey,
Jose,
I
was like, oh, okay.
Maybe Jose didn't know who you were referring, but let me play a clip of who you were talking about.
It's cold with these pizzas.
And stop pulling your chin and you pull them. Go. Oh, hey, baby, that might be cold right here. Be cold now. Hold on, man. Yeah. What's happening, Chief? What's happening, Chief? What's up? You know my sales slogan. You want it, I got it. If I ain't got it, I'm gonna get it. So get it while the getting's good. Hustle man's out here in this kind of weather. What you selling, Hustle man? I got something I know you gonna dig. I got a special on some free range chicken. What the hell is free range chicken?
Can't play too much, Ramon. They might block you.
Push you in the range of $15. Man, goddamn hens on a branch. What the hell is? What? I mean, what do we? I mean, we not buying no damn barbecue pigeons, man. We don't want nothing. Stop it!
It smells so good.
Of course, pudding. That's my special
Fair
sauce.
use. Fair use.
Fair use.
It is. You got to marinate it for 3 to 2 days. Yeah. Yeah, you marinate it.
So do you use honey in your pork and bean sauce?
Oh, that's passe. We use molasses now.
Molasses?
Yeah, because it's thick. Man, you don't get your seagull selling ass on up out of here, man. Step, man. Ain't nobody trying to buy that. Step. This your loss, Chief. Your loss. It's cold in here. But you ain't paying your rent. y'all sitting there trying to buy 3 them damn chickens, pigeons on a branch, man. Y'all don't know where he got that. Stuck it right through the pigeons, and y'all trying to buy it. Martin, look, Cole's been gone for over an hour.
Okay, there. Yeah,
Classic. That was classic. That was classic.
Yeah, no, and that was a classic episode too. I remember it because that was that was when they were freezing, and they hadn't paid the rent increase, so they didn't have heat in the middle of a blizzard.
It was a blizzard in Detroit, and they knew Cole was the only one that was dumb enough that they can send off to go get that food.
Oh yeah. I remember. I don't know what happened next. I mean, by the time he got to the door, he was frozen stiff.
Yeah, yeah. I take it. It was a little chilly over there.
Yeah, you should have been there. You should have been out there enjoying all that cold ass weather that you like so much. And
first of all, we haven't had winter in New York in years.
Once again, no, Kishel already debunked you. Kishel already debunked you about that. She says otherwise. I would have liked for her to
okay, but remember, my definition of winter is a little different from everybody else's.
We know. You like that polar bear, North Pole polar bear shit.
I mean, if I had my way, if I had complete climate control of the weather worldwide, first of all, there would be no such thing as global warming, number one. Number two, I'll be generous. Winter will only be 4 months long, okay? And
oh wow, like you're doing us a favor, Jose. Okay.
Yeah, like thanks a lot. It's not that doesn't sound very encouraging.
And I'll be extra nice. It will never get below 10 below.
Okay. All right then. Wow.
Blood Moon says R.I.P. Tommy. You know what's funny? I remember watching the old interview with Martin. I think he was on Oprah or something. And they was asking this one audience member, she jumped up, she said, "You know what, Martin, we still never found out what Tommy did." He was like, "I still don't know what Tommy do."
Yeah, because he was mentioning something about having a job, and but no one knew what it was. That was a running joke there. And you said, "Oh, my job, something about my job." Yeah, you ain't got no job.
Speaking about the job, the other night when I was doing overtime, it was like 59 degrees outside. Would you believe they had their air conditioning on?
15 degrees outside, 15 degrees. Jose, 59. What the hell?
He said 59. I think he was saying 50.
55, and you had the air conditioner on? I need a jacket. I need a jacket. At 55 degrees, I need a jacket.
No, that's Indian summer.
You're trying to give somebody the flu?
You're trying to get somebody pneumonia.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna need COVID if they come to your house, Jose, because you got them taken care of with flu-like symptoms. You know, you got the Alka-Seltzer with the head cold. In case they get a head cold, if they wake up with a sore throat in the morning.
Well, believe it or not, I actually look upon the first day of winter as an unofficial holiday.
You say, what day is that, Jose?
December the 21st.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that was the official day of winter.
Yes.
I was meaning to tell you, Ramon, like, because my grandmother used to love Martin, and she used to always tell, she was like, Tommy sure do be clean for somebody that don't have a job. He wear those nice leather coats, and
he will be wearing suits, and I mean, dressing well. He wasn't looking like no bum, So one will wonder. I mean, what he was doing? He was doing something on the streets or something.
Just like what Irby said, especially out there in Detroit. You might have a point, Irby, because remember when Martin told Tommy, he said, "Tommy, we never did find out what you did, Tommy, where you work. He was like, it was at Nipsey's. He was like, oh, come on, Mark. You know where I work at. I work at that building right down the street from here, Tommy. He like the white building at the end of the block, Tommy. He like, yeah, that building. He like, that building's abandoned, Tommy.
Well, would you believe there was a supervisor that actually turned on the AC to 61 degrees this week?
Yeah, and you were insisting that everybody freezes their ass off because you wanted to be comfortable, right?
Oh, come on now. Don't exaggerate, okay?
I'm not exaggerating. With you, I will be freezing. It has to be. I don't know. If I ever meet you, you are gonna have to sweat a little bit, but it's gonna have to be during the summer. It's gonna have to be the summertime.
I tell you, come to New York in the wintertime, and I'll come to Texas in the summertime. It's perfectly fair.
You weren't there. You weren't there coming here in the middle of July. temperature is like 114.
I mean,
you were in the hospital.
Or better yet, let's meet up in Albany in the wintertime when the temperature goes down below 0.
Mm-hmm.
Jose, you're maniacal. You're maniacal.
I mean, you should see me on a nice cold winter day when I'm happy, I'm in a good mood. I have a pep in my step, and
Mm-hmm. Hey, Ramon.
Yeah, we
know.
know.
You remember that episode when Keith Sweat was on Martin and he was flirting with Pam and Tommy was getting jealous.
Oh. Yeah, because at that time they were doing a thing. They were kind of seeing each other. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. I will have to rewatch. We'll have to revisit that. But yeah, I remember.
Could you imagine if I had the power to make Texas a winter wonderland?
No, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
I just think about it. 4 months of temperatures near 0. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Mm-mm. No, it wouldn't be so wonderful. You can keep it there in North New York or Alaska, whatever the fuck.
We can bring the nice cold weather to Puerto Rico. Wouldn't that be cool?
Why would you want to do that, man? Why would you want to do that? I can't.
Unfortunately, there are already certain parts of the island that are a little colder than the usual towards the center during the winter, during the end, kind of like during December, because it goes both ways. It's kind of like a pendulum. You know that a pendulum swings to a certain extent, but then it swings to that certain extent the other way. That's kind of like how the weather the weather goes. I mean, we were dealing still we're almost in October, but since June we have been dealing with 100-degree weather consistently, over 100 degrees. But I don't want to imagine how cold is it gonna get, particularly in February. I mean, I don't want to even imagine. I don't want to. I don't want. No, shut up. What I'll say? No. Lucky my ass. I mean, I might catch pneumonia because
well, how come I don't get sick in the wintertime?
Because you're a polar bear. You're Mr. Freeze. Like I
just think about it. 4 months of single-digit weather or below 0 weather. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
No. Hell no.
I mean, just think about it. Texas being colder than Chicago in the wintertime.
Why would you do that, Jose? That sounds very evil.
Yes, it is.
That's very bad intentions, and we can't give you any power to do that, Jose, because power corrupts. You'll turn into a villain before we know it.
No,
Be like,
I'll be a benevolent dictator. I
yeah,
will allow
you'll be Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars. We can't have that.
No, I will
No.
allow one day out of the year that the temperature reaches the low 90s. Okay.
Oh.
And summer will be 2 months long, and winter will only be 4 months long. And of course, my definition of springtime is anywhere between 20 to 45 degrees.
That's not spring. That's still winter.
Nah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yep.
That's
You're already rewording things. You're doing it to set us up. But Irby said Pam had him twisted up. You absolutely right. Hey, that was my song too, man. I used to love that song as a kid. Keith Sweat Twisted. But everybody used to say Keith Sweat big too much on his records.
That he was too much of a simp.
Yeah, he was too much of a simp. Even Tommy said it in Martin when he was speaking to Pam. And then he was like, I always like to please Pam. You like, yeah, especially with all that damn begging.
Yeah. Yeah. That today is what simping. I mean, the term simping has been around for a long time.
Speaking about weather, would you believe next week in Nome, Alaska, it will be going down to the mid-20s?
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Let it be warm. Let it stay warm. Like, come on.
But like I was saying, and after that, once I realized that glass, I picked it up, and I just turned off that documentary altogether. I'm like, I'm not about to finish watching this.
Yeah.
Like I had nightmares and all types of stuff, man. But yeah, I might do a live stream on that dude. I might do a live stream on because he was here doing that, and I just remember actually, I think him and Pennywise the clown from It really gave me a clown phobia as a kid.
You mean the old TV? And that was like a TV adaptation.
Yeah,
that was done back in the day. Yeah, for It, and that was divided into chapters. I understand. It was like a mini series because they will show you some of the movie, and then they will roll some credits, and then they will restart the movie again. They will show some credits. Apparently, it was like a mini series for television. It was still kind of scary, but I haven't seen the movies, the more recent movies. But there have been a couple of them, so I guess those are made and they're more intense and are scarier.
Yeah. Blood Moon said he liked them younger than you, right, Kim?
Like them.
Yeah, at that time I was a kid, Blood Moon, when I was my first time seeing John Wayne Gacy I was 6 years old, and it was in 1994. He was in Stateville Correctional Facility, which is in Joliet, which is like 45 minutes outside of Chicago, and he was being getting ready to be sentenced to his deletion. And they were showing on television. I don't know where was the adults, probably too busy. Maybe I was a nuisance. They didn't want to be bothered, but I was the only person in that room. And I think you know how when you leave on, remember back in the day, like in the 90s, when you leave on the regular television channels and Dateline NBC comes on, and it was on the Dateline NBC special. And you did not know him, but no, I just remember him being a clown that deleted people. Blood Moon. I didn't know his name. He was being sentenced. I just remember seeing that because it showed the pictures of him dressing up like a clown. That was his job, and it scared the living hell out of me as a kid. Him and Pennywise, because he was deleting people and burying them in his crawl space. That's all. I didn't know him by name. I was too little. But as I got older, I remember that documentary. I remember that coming on NBC, and then of course Netflix did another one as I got older that I watched. But prior to that, no. And I definitely remember Pennywise because Pennywise scared the living hell out of me at 7 and 8 years old.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. I remember seeing that, and I was a teenager when I had a chance to see those. So, but it seems like it was made for TV. It was like a mini series, so it wasn't. There were scares, but it wasn't too bad. So,
Well, my
it,
grandmother
it-
had my
uh,
grandmother had it on VHS back
ah,
and I had watched it with my grandparents as a kid, but it was still scary, man, especially when he brought that boy Georgie down the the little storm drain.
mhm.
Oh, Georgie, they float. And when you're down here, you'll float too. And grabbed them, and I was like, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was there. That damn clown creeped me out.
Well, I'm gonna hop off because it's getting close to 2 o'clock in the morning up around my
Mm.
way. So, first of all, thank you very much for allowing me on the
Yes.
platform. It was a great, time. I had a great time, um, and just have a good weekend. And
Mhm.
whatever you do, try not to lose your cool.
Definitely, Don Jose. I appreciate you being up on my little panel, my little channel. I look forward to the next one. Thanks for coming up.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be doing a stream on Tuesday. Let's see what's going to be the topic. Just give me a moment. It's going to be how to deal with grief.
Didn't you already?
I
Didn't you
know,
already do
I know,
that
but you know what?
subject?
I know, but unfortunately, that's something we're always going to deal with.
Well, you and I are dealing with our grief, and I'm sure to a degree, Rakim too. I did a live stream when like a month after my mom passed, and that live stream that was actually kind of like a sad stream because I had both of you guys, and I also had a teacher. I had teacher on, and his parent, his mom also passed away. So that was a sad ass stream because we were bonding over that. I mean, because I was it kind of commemorated after the first month, and how was it for me, and the difficulties and putting up with the grief that comes with it. But yeah. I mean, I try not to think too much about it. I try to act as normal as I can, but I do have my moments where I don't. I might be mentioning it, but I don't express anything about it really. In which I do feel like this depression is washing over me. I do feel like that at times because, like, what I was told about that by people that I work with that are in my age group and they have lost their parents also, and they tell me you don't really recover from that. That's something that you manage it, the grief, the loss. That's something that you can manage it, but you're never gonna be over it. I mean, that stays with you because it's a very it's the loss of your parent. I mean, it's not like with other relatives. You get over that much easier. But when it comes to your parent, your parent that raised you, I mean, you feel like somebody went away with it. A part of you died, and yeah, that's kind of how I feel at times. So, but no, I'm not trying to make this all sad right now because
Well,
just
well,
we're trying to live life and to enjoy it and to
yes.
live it up as much as we can. So that's why I was wondering about it because I thought that you had already done that subject. But it's true. It's
I've
true.
done it, but it's always such a you just have to be addressed, and also it has to fall on the anniversary of my father pass passing away.
Yeah.
It'll be 11 years that my father passed away.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
kind of like
Peace.
a shout out to him as well. And he lives in my heart, so that's how I deal with it. And it's the same thing with my mom and my other siblings. So, but in any case, just remember it's 83 days until the first day of winter.
Don't. Okay. Okay. You already talked about it. We're already talking about your beloved cold weather. I don't want to hear it.
We know you graduated from Arctic alumni,
Yeah.
Jose. This is like the 15th time. Jose, if you was a superhero, you would be Iceman from X-Men.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Could you imagine if I actually had superpowers? I can control the
No,
weather.
we don't want to imagine. No, no, no. Ugh. No, you will be a you will be a problem. You will be a problem. You will be a super villain with a name maybe like the one that I just put up. I mean, Mr. Freeze. So yeah, I'm not trying to deal with all of that. I mean,
Well, in any case, good night.
all
Good
right.
night.
Yes,
Take
looking
care.
forward to the next one. Thanks for coming up. You have a good
You're
night.
welcome. Good night.
But of course, what you were saying earlier, yeah, I definitely deal with like my mother. My mother is still around, but me and her are not close. It was my grandmother that took me in, that raised me ever since I was a kid. So yeah, I deal with
Well,
that.
I don't know, man. I can't tell you what to do, but if she's still around, there could still be some kind of hope that you could kind of work out your differences with her, because I wouldn't want her. I wouldn't want something for her, something to happen to her, and maybe she passes away, and maybe you regret not trying to work things out with her. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah,
at least consider that. I mean, in the end, you decide what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do, but I strongly, strongly urge you to consider trying to work things out. I mean, before it gets too late. So
yeah,
that's all I can tell you. I can say now. If she wasn't the person who raised you, I can understand to a degree, because I didn't grow up with my dad, so I don't really have a relationship with him. But I don't know. I don't know. It's your mom still, so it wouldn't be. I don't think it will be worthless or a waste of time to try to reconnect and try to work things out. Now, if you try and you are being met with, kind of like a cold response on it, then okay, you don't have to go back. You don't have to keep trying. But I don't know. That's something that I will tell you to consider, because you don't want her to pass away and then you start regretting. I mean, that maybe you could have tried, or what if, you don't want to be wondering what could have happened if you had reached out. So, but again, you know your situation. I can't tell you what to do, so that's for you to consider.
no, I definitely hear you on that. But yeah, so I see things a lot of the times that because of my grandmother used to, just that jovial smile I miss about her, because she used to always say, "Yeah, it ain't as crazy how we look so much alike." And I was like, "Yeah, I got every from the gap in my teeth to my complexion, my facial features, all of that came from my grandmother. She had very, very strong genes." And people
All
used to,
right.
and the funny thing is, when we would be out in public, everybody used to always think I was her son. She was like, "Oh, they're like, there go your son." I was
Yeah.
like, no, that's my grandson.
Uh-huh. All right.
So one of the things that remind me of her the most, especially when I hear Anita Baker. She loved Anita Baker. That was her girl.
All
So
right.
she used to play a lot, and she was very classy lady, very elegant.
Yes.
Um, I miss her a lot, man.
Of course. Of course. I mean, that's that grandparent that raised you. I mean, I remember my grandma. I mean, she lived with us. I mean, she lived with me, mom, my sister. Yeah. Yeah.
And
She
you
was
know
the one.
what's funny? You
Yeah.
know what's funny is when your parents be trying to they like my grandmother's older, so she from a different generation. So I can remember being a kid and she like, I picked up this CD for you that you wanted me to get. Who is this Nace Nas? I was like, Nas, grandma. It's Nas.
Yeah. Yeah, they couldn't
Like,
pronounce the names because they didn't know what that was about. They didn't understand it. Yeah, yeah. Well, old school parents that were used to like real names, normal
yeah,
names, not nicknames or stage names.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And they always she used to crack me up with that. And of course, it was funny because she would watch basketball with me as a kid. And I'd be trying to explain it to her. She didn't even realize how much she didn't know. She was like, don't be trying to correct me, boy. I know where the paint is. I was like, the paint. I'm like, grandma, the paint. That's the area that the center control. That was the only thing she knew, and thinking she teaching me something. She used to be cracking me up with that, man.
Okay, Blood Moon, she's talking about someone else. She's not talking about. Uh,
No, Blood Moon. Lil Nas X wasn't around when I was a kid.
that's
He,
something else entirely. That's another. That's a
he,
rainbow agenda
yeah,
pusher. Nah.
he's not the original. He's not the original Nas. Take the Lil and the X off. He's talking about the Nas from Queens, New York, Queensbridge to be exact.
Mhm.
Get it right. Not no little
Yeah. She knows. She knows.
she
She's just trolling a little bit.
not no fruity in the pants.
Yeah,
Little
pink outfit wearing.
I swear,
Yeah,
devil
fa-
twerking. What the
fake
hell wrong with
pregnant, fake pregnant belly wearer.
I swear, man. I was
Yeah,
like, what the hell wrong with this boy?
yeah.
But, but yeah, them like man, so like yeah, you just see things that remind you of them and everything like that. And like a lot of the style and everything, like I got so much from her because she was the type of person she got me into. Like she'll be like, I would like nice things because my grandmother had a lot of nice stuff when I was growing up. Louis Vuitton purses, furs, and all types of stuff. I remember she had a 1984 Cadillac DeVille when I was a
Oh,
kid. Yeah, she
all
made her
right.
money, man. She had her businesses and everything. And every time I saw her, yeah, I love to be with her because it was like anytime I saw my grandmother, she was taking me to get stuff and different things like that. And I never forget too, because as she got older, um like as she got older, like because with her working so much when I was a kid, we didn't get to spend time. So once she started like
Mhm.
settling down, like I was like in my teenage years, like 16, 17, but she worked it downtown. So at home, she would come home at nighttime. So that's when we have our time that we spend together. And she will watch Martin and Seinfeld and all of those different shows. And she always tell me, I'm happy to be able to spend this time with you because I was always working and I didn't
Mhm.
get a chance. And she was my best friend, man. We can speak about anything. We talked about any and everything. She told me how it was when she was growing up, how she grew up poor. They had to mostly eat uh, they mostly had to eat like right beans and cornbread. She said beans and cornbread, and in order to flavor like the beans, my great grandmother, there was a butcher shop at the end of the block, and she would buy the meat bone. She would be able to get the meat bone cheap, and she would use that meat bone to flavor the beans. And on Sundays, they was able to have meat, and she made her own clothes and all types of stuff. But she said the way that because how poor she was when she was growing up, that made her not want to be poor when she was older. So she tried to work as much as she possibly did, as she possibly could, and she definitely handled her business. Yeah, Blood Moon, I know those. Yeah, that was back in those days, and she had a few cars. She told me about her Stingray. She had a not a Stingray. She had a Barracuda, a old school Barracuda back in the day. Of course, yeah, she had quite a few cars.
Wow, Barracuda, it escapes me, but I know what a Stingray is. Oh, really, really? That's a
Yeah,
type of.
no, I confused the two. She had a
Yeah.
Barracuda. I know a Stingray. That's like a Corvette, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. But yeah, she had, and I used to want that Cadillac DeVille. I got like 16 because at that point, she had it in the garage. I was like, I used to tell my friend, I was like, man, I'm gonna fix this up, bro. It's gonna be my car. Before I started driving. Yeah,
Okay.
that was the days, man.
All right. All right. So, man, Rakim, any last thoughts? I have to take my leave. I have to lie down. So,
I definitely
any.
understand that. Just want to say thank you for allowing me up on your platform. Ramon, it's been a very great, interesting live. We covered various topics, the two
Yeah, yeah.
podcasts.
It wasn't any particular subject on this one. I might do another one soon in which I'm gonna be talking about something specific. But yeah, you were saying.
Oh yeah, we covered, quite a few different topics, So it was a very interesting live. Want to
Mm-hmm.
say shout out to Irby, shout out to Blood Moon, and the other people in the chat that stopped by. Shout out to Jose, and thank you for allowing me on. One thing Jose didn't cover: if he made winter everywhere, how any of those tropical fruits and vegetables going to grow in the Antilles and the West Indies? Man, he would have been messing up a lot of stuff, making it winter all
Yeah,
over the
yeah,
world.
yeah. Because I mean, there are certain things that don't grow well in the middle of a winter. So yeah, we don't need it in the Caribbean. I mean, he knows it. I think I have told him before, but he insists. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's the deal with him. With all that hypothermia inducing shit that he's so into, but yeah, yeah. That's what he was born and raised in. So yeah, that's his thing. It would never ever be my thing. I mean, I have enough. I have enough when it snows in like in February, and and it becomes difficult to move around because of the frozen roads, and anybody that has to go up on a highway is snowed in. It doesn't take a lot for somebody to be officially snowed in because just not being able to drive, that's enough. That's enough to be
Oh
snow.
yeah.
There doesn't have to be that much snow, but if there was sleet the night before, then the roads are gonna be too slippery for people to be able to move around. So that's like being snowed in. You can't go anywhere.
Now it's only one redeeming factor that I like about the wintertime,
Hmm.
and that factor is that once it gets cold outside,
Hmm.
like with the snow and everything, it kills all the germs in the air. So let's say, because I use candles in my house, of course. So I like those, especially around this time of the year. I like those forest pine candles and like the cinnamon candles and all of that. So of course, after cleaning and with bleach and different things like that, on Sunday I'll open my windows in the wintertime,
Mhm.
just so you get that burst of cold air and crisp air, and then after that, I open them for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then light those candles, man. Best. That's the best thing I like about winter time. That's pretty much it. But other than that, yeah, you can keep it. You can keep
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
All right.
So, shout out to you once again, my boy Ramon, and
Yes.
get yourself some rest, man. I'm out of here. Shout out to everybody in the chat, and peace out. Everybody enjoy their weekend. Stay safe.
All right, man. You too. Take it easy. I appreciate you coming up. We're gonna be doing another thing soon enough. You take care, man.
Facts, facts. Take it easy.
All right. Cool, cool. All right, all right, all right. So at this time that I see that there are already still three people watching. I appreciate you holding on, watching my little stream impromptu, and many subjects, like Rakim said, many subjects that were covered, and it was a good one. I think this stream didn't go too bad. And anybody who was watching, people that were commenting on the chat, appreciate the comments. Also, like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Also, about my panelists, and before I forget, if you haven't done so yet, um, subscribe to Jose's channel, which is the On Common Sense with Jose Negron. Hit the subscribe button, and also the bell for all of the notifications. He posts, he does live streams fairly regularly, so there is always content coming up from him. Also, when it comes to the 18 letter, also check out his channel. He doesn't post as much, but still, he does have several streams that he has done in the recent past. So check him out. Also, hit the subscribe and the notification bell on all for all of the notices about upcoming streams. And with that said, this was the Introvert Boricua, and I appreciate you watching. And until next time, peace.